This month, we are pleased to introduce Jacky Lai as our featured guest for June. Jacky took a leap of faith in 2014 after years of business school and modeling to relocate to the growing film mecca of Vancouver, Canada, and chase those acting dreams. Since the move, she has appeared in the CW's The Flash and CBS's Ransom series. She had recurring roles in Shadowhunters and ABC's Once Upon a Time, and co-starred with Ian Somerhalder of Vampire Diaries fame in the horror sci-fi series V-Wars on Netflix. Then, in 2020, Jacky starred in Lifetime's very first holiday movie centered around an Asian American family called A Sugar and Spice Holiday, the success of which helped spawn another Lifetime holiday movie called Candy Cane Candidate. This month, I had the pleasure of speaking with Jacky right before she makes a big splash in Eraser Reborn, a reboot of the 1996 Arnold Schwarzenegger action film Eraser from Warner Brothers. We got to talk about some of her favorite ad campaigns and acting experiences from early in her career, how the movie Titanic left a lasting impression, and of course, the influence of Arnold, the impact of technology, and how it all comes together in her starring role in Eraser Reborn. Here's how our conversation went. Today, we are so happy to have Jacky Lai here with us on Everything Zen. Jacky, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
Now, I read that your family immigrated to Canada from Vietnam when you were about 5 years old. What do you remember from that experience, and how did your family settle upon Toronto as a place to call home?
Actually, when we first immigrated here, we moved to Vancouver.
Vancouver, oh.
Yes. So my stepdad at the time had family here, so we moved here with him. I don't remember much of it other than, not understanding anything at all. I think the only words I knew in English at the time was yes or no. That was it. And I got to experience snow for the first time here.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. I don't remember much about the experience other than, those little blips.
As a young girl, did you always have your sights set on acting, or was there another career that excited you more?
I always knew I wanted to be in entertainment in some sort of performance arts, just because in my room, the doors closed, I would be lip singing, dancing, and no one will know. I was very hyperactive, I felt like, as a kid. And it's funny that as I gotten older, I've become much more introverted. But I think as a kid, I always knew I wanted to perform. There was something that it just made me so happy.
Were there any particular films or actors that helped fuel your acting aspirations?
The thing is, when I first came here, because I didn't speak English, I didn't watch a lot of North American films. But one in particular stood out for me because it was the first movie I ever watched in theaters was Titanic. And yeah.
Pretty memorable movie.
Exactly. Yeah. And at the time, not knowing English, I was still so enamored and in love with what I was seeing. And to me, I feel like it was such a huge impact. It made such a huge impact for me, even as a kid and not knowing English. So I think for me, I would say Titanic was kind of like my intrigue into what film was.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about your education. Where did you go to school? What did you study? And at what point did you move away from business into modeling and acting?
I did, modeling here and there through university. I went to school for business. I was in a long-term relationship. It was about 5 years. That ended, and I ended up in a place where it made me think about what is it that I want to do. Because I think at that time, the person I was dating wasn't so keen on kind of like me being in, a model or an actor. And when that ended, it just kind of opened me up to what is it that I want to do. And for me, the one thing that always stood out was, I guess, the arts, TV, film, because I I get bored really easily. This industry scares the shit out of me, but also allows me to do so many different things. And so I just kind of woke up one day, booked a ticket, moved to Vancouver 10 days after.
Wow.
And that was it. Yeah.
Well, you say the industry scares the heck out of you. What do your parents think about your acting career? Have they been supportive from day one, or did it take some convincing?
I'm really lucky. I feel like my parents have always been really supportive. My parents are a lot younger. So I feel like our relationship was we're more like friends. There was not a lot of like, you have to do this, you have to do that kind of thing. They're just they've always been very supportive. Like I worked for them while I was in university, and they would let me like run out of work to go to auditions and do whatever it is that I needed to do. So yeah, I'm really lucky in that aspect.
That's great.
Yeah.
You also got to model for Axe deodorant, Dentine Ice, Acura, Subway. Did you have a favorite or least favorite ad campaign that you remember?
One of my favorite. I think one of the most memorable ones, it was my first commercial. It was for OLG, the Ontario Lottery Gaming Company. And it was a huge set, and we were running away from a robot, and we had to scratch quickly to electrify the car so that it could go. And it was pretty epic for me being the first commercial, first set I'd ever been on. So I'd say that's the most memorable.
Any fan of Arnold Schwarzenegger or action films in general is familiar with Eraser. What is Eraser Reborn about, and how is it different from the 1996 film?
Eraser Reborn is about a U.S. Marshal, Mason Pollard, who runs or is a part of a program that erases witnesses who are in a life and death situation, and that is a way to protect them before they show up in court to testify. I feel like the story is similar to Eraser, but I think the characters are slightly different. The world is different. I mean, in 2020 now, erasing people is very different with social media. Yeah. I think in terms of my character, she's very different from that of which Vanessa William played in the 1996 Eraser. And I mean, we got to use Cape Town as the backdrop and play it as Cape Town, which is so beautiful. And there's so much culture that we get to use because it was in Cape Town. So that was really cool. So and I feel like that's what makes it different from the 1996 film.
Did you study the original Eraser film to prepare for the role? And does it have some of those catchphrases like, you've been erased, don't move, you're dead, those types of things? Please say yes. Yes,
it definitely does. I mean, how can you not? I think people would be very disappointed if you don't have the catchphrase, you've been erased. Like I said, I think my character was quite different. So I could watch the original Eraser and not feel like I'm, emulating anything. I did watch it. I wouldn't say I studied it, but I wanted to kind of understand the story and where and how hours come in. So yeah, I watched it. I wouldn't say I studied it, and it was different enough that I could get a good understanding and kind of start anew with Eraser Reborn.
Was there anything that you learned from being on, great television shows like Shadowhunters, Beyond, V-Wars that has helped you in your career today and has helped you on a film like Eraser? And what are some of the noticeable differences between television and film?
Well, I think mainly you never really know what's next in television. You make up your own idea of what you think is happening, what their journey is, and oftentimes things are changed last minute. So you've got to be prepared, but also be very open to change. I mean, I've had it happen dramatically on V Wars. Like I showed up on set and like I'd say like 40% of what I prepared is like completely changed. And I think in film, which I love, is you get the whole story and you get to like dive in and make details and explore every single one. And there's kind of always a rush with TV. It's like, keep going. And I feel like there's an intricacy with film that I get to explore because everything's there for me too. And so, yeah, I would say I love film. TV is challenging, but it's really cool to kind of keep learning and to keep being surprised by the challenges that come at you.
As long as you're not written out of the show.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's a different challenge in itself.
That's right. Was there a particular scene you filmed or off-camera moment on Eraser that you loved?
Oh my God, yes. When I saw the preview, I mean, I loved it, but I cried a little because they took out her backstory, which I worked so hard on. But I think, the team is right. I mean, you get what you need from her story of why she was motivated to do what she does. But I think because I spent so much time living in that story that it was kind of heartbreaking when it was like completely cut out, like didn't matter. But yeah.
Maybe on the director's cut, we'll see it.
I hope so.
Jacky's cut, we'll see it.
Yes. Maybe I'll ask for a private video of that.
There you go. Going from vampires and monsters to something like Candy Cane Candidate, try saying that 3 times fast, is quite the change. What types of projects, characters, or genres excite you most? And is there a particular role or genre or filmmaker that you'd like to pursue and work with?
Oh my God, so many. I think that's why I'm in this, because there's just so much I want to explore. Comedy for sure. I think comedy is just such a challenge, but that's where I find relief in my day-to-day. So I want to be able to tap into that. I'm working on my vocals right now because I would love to be in a musical. Yeah, but another character that really intrigues me is, one to either be a villain, to get in their minds, and then to be, a special ops, somebody with special skills. Yeah, that's always really cool. So.
The Sugar and Spice holiday was very significant in that it was Lifetime's first Asian American holiday film. As an outsider, we're starting to see more Asian American stories come to life in film and television. As an insider, though, is there anything that stands out in terms of change from your early television experiences and commercial days to now?
Oh, yeah. I remember going into the rooms, and if me being Asian auditioning for this role, I was kind of like the one-off, and I've never really seen an Asian name. I've always gone in for a Caucasian name and being like the other option, but it's really amazing to see things grow and people being specific too, not just them being Asian, but Korean, Vietnamese, and people wanting to cast the correct ethnicity for the roles. I think that's wonderful, and it's crazy to be able to see that in the short amount of time that I've been in the industry. Yeah,
and it has such an impact on the little Jackies that are out there today, and seeing representation on film and television is so important.
100%. I think I talked about it during the press for Sugar and Spice Holiday, where I grew up thinking that to be beautiful, you had to look Caucasian.
Mm.
And I dyed my hair blonde. I wore green contacts because I didn't think that me looking the way I was could be a love interest.
Mm.
And so getting the role of Sugar and Spice Holiday was a dream come true. I mean, I love romantic comedies, and yeah, to be able to be a romantic lead was, I can't even put into words still. So lucky that it existed and that I was able to be a part of that.
Awesome. What are some of your current goals? Where is Jacky 5 years from now? What is she doing?
I want to direct. I want to produce. I mean, I love this industry so much, and there's so much more I want to do. So definitely those two avenues. I think also I just fell in love with Cape Town so much that my dream in 5 years is to have a vacation home there, be able to go back and forth. Yeah, it's beautiful. Have you been?
Now, I have not, but now you're tempting me to hop on a plane and go myself. It sounds great.
Oh my God, you should. I mean, if you love scenery, culture, sunsets, it's kind of my jam. I loved it there.
That's great. And it wasn't on a green screen or in a studio either. So
no. Yeah, that's what's really cool. I mean, there's a scene where we got to film in an area that is never really showcased. They went through a lot of hoops in order to film there and pay respects to the people there. And I'm really excited for people to see that. It's probably one of my favorite scenes, even though I'm not in it, of the movie, just
cool.
Because of the area. Mm-hmm.
My last question for you today, it's after Eraser Reborn releases in June, what upcoming projects do you have?
Well, I mean, as we were saying, we're at a time where I'm getting a lot of great opportunities. The industry has really opened up for diversity. And so my team and I are very deliberate in what projects we're doing next. We're reading a bunch of scripts to see what is the best move right now.
Is there going to be another Lifetime holiday movie in that mix, do you think?
I can't say anything.
We'll hope, though. We'll hope.
Yeah, I'm always surprised, I guess because I didn't grow up watching it, I'm surprised by how big the fan base is for holiday film. People, it's a staple holiday thing to do.
It is. And it seems like it starts earlier and earlier every year. Now we're in September, counting down. So
you got your lights up yet?
No, they never go down.
So. You're one of those. Okay.
Sort of. We have white lights outside that kind of double when we're having parties and things like that on our deck. So.
Oh, that's nice. I love white lights. I feel like at night it feels like stars.
Yeah, it does. It's really nice. Well, Jacky, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us here on Everything Zen. Congrats on Eraser Reborn. We're looking forward to it on digital, Blu-ray, and DVD on June 7th, and wishing you continued success and all the best.
Awesome. Thank you so much for this interview and for your time.
Eraser Reborn is available right now on a variety of digital platforms, Blu-ray, and DVD. And if you'd like to learn more about Jacky Lai, you can connect with her on Instagram at @HiJackyLai. You can also catch her in action in V-Wars on Netflix. Shadowhunters is available on many different platforms today, and you can even catch A Sugar and Spice Holiday and Candy Cane Candidate streaming right now on Amazon Prime.